On the Global News Prime, Tinubu to vet Foreign Affairs Ministry's ambassadorial lease. CBN and EFCC probe banks firms over alleged forex racketeering. Address growing security challenges, NGA urges government. On the APC elders ask Ayedatiwa the probe governor aspirant debt. And on sport, Poland, Ukraine, Georgia secure final Euro 2024 spot. Hello and welcome to other viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global TV. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Edikan Michael. Despite an earlier announcement cancelling the National Convention of the Labour Party, which was shifted from Abia to Anambra State, the exercise is currently taking place in the industrial town of Nnewi amidst tight security. Some suspected hoodlums waving placards to try to infiltrate the venue of the convention were arrested. A party chieftain said the intention of the hoodlums and the sponsors was to destabilize the convention. And Julius Abera secured his re-elections at the National Chairman of the Labour Party for his second term with unanimous support from delegates. The Chairman of the National Convention and Deputy Governor of Abia State, Mr. Ikechukwu Imetu, announced the winner at the party's National Convention in Nnewi, Anambra State on Wednesday. Abure has been engaged in a conflict with the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress headed by Joe Ajero. The National Guild of Editors has urged the government at all levels to step up efforts in addressing growing security challenges across the country. This is contained in a communique issued and signed by the NGA President Eze Anaba and the General Secretary Iyobeza after the Forum Standing Committee meeting held in Enugu. The guide described the recent release of students of early year primary school and government secondary school in Kuriga and Chicken Lake government area of Kaduna State as a good development. The guide also called on the federal government to speak out on the editor of First newspaper, Segun Olatuju, who was abducted from his Lagos home by some men in military uniform. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday congratulated Mr. Bassirou Faye on his election as the President of the Republic of Senegal. He also congratulated incumbent President Macky Sall for overseeing an election widely deemed as peaceful and transparent. Tinubu's congratulatory message is contained in a statement signed by his Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, titled President Tinubu's congratulates President-elect Bassirou Faye and the people of the Republic of Senegal. Faye emerged as Senegal's president-elect after an unprecedented victory at the presidential election on Sunday, March 24, 2024. Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano has approved a subsidy of 500,000 naira for each of the states intending pilgrims for the 2024 Hajj in Saudi Arabia. Alhaji Lamin Danfa, the Director General of the State Pilgrims Welfare Board, said these were in brief newsmen on Wednesday in Kano. Considering the current economic hardship the people are facing and with the increase in the fare, a great challenge to many intending pilgrims, the subsidy is to alleviate their suffering. Those who have already paid part payment to the board will benefit from the subsidy, as over 2,900 intending pilgrims have already paid to the board. He said Danfa urged all intending pilgrims to ensure that they pay the remaining balance before March 28, as cited by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. You're watching News Prime, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using our Global TV NG and other handles now shown on your screen. When News Prime's returns, CBN directs BDCs to sell dollar at 1,269 naira. These and other stories coming right after this break. Stay with us. This is Global Television, bringing you live broadcasts of News Prime. Many thanks for staying with us. The Minister of State Federal Capital Territory FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmoud has urged leaders across the country to lead with the fear of Allah and not to be autocratic. She gave the advice Tuesday when she hosted Muslims at the Ifla breaking of fast in Abuja and admonished all to continue to pray for President Bola Tinubu to progress and the zeal to surmount current challenges facing the country. Also speaking, the Deputy National Women Leader of All Progressive Congress, APC, Zainab Ibrahim, urged Nigerians to pray for the country during these challenging times. But Muslims and Christians are fasting. I commend the FCT Minister and the FCT Minister of State for the transformation taking place in FCT. This is the time to pray more for their country and the leaders. We all know what the country is going through and want us to know that it's a global thing. It's not just Nigeria. This is a particular month when Allah answers the prayers of worshippers. They doubles their efforts in prayers for Nigeria and for leaders, she said. Few weeks, President Joe Biden and his senior officials have been losing patience with the way that Israel is fighting the war in Gaza. Of urged increasingly stiff language to convey their displeasure to Israel and the wider world. The decision is to allow the latest ceasefire resolution through the Security Council, which shows that President Biden has decided that strong words are not enough. Removing diplomatic protection from Israel's conduct of the war is a significant step. It shows the depth of the rift that has opened between the White House and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The UN Security Council has called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza after the US did not veto the measure and shift from its previous position. It also demanded the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. It is the first time the Council has called for a ceasefire since the war began in October after several failed attempts. The move by the U.S. signals growing divergence between it and its allied Israel over Israel's offensive in Gaza. And now the Francis Scott Key Bridge in the U.S. city of the Baltimore collapsed after a ship collided with it. The Maryland Transportation Authority said that the Key Bridge collapsed due to ship strike. The posted on social media platform X referring the interstate highway and urged drivers to avoid the route over the Patusco River, which is called an active scene. And earlier that said interstate lanes in both directions were closed due to an incident on the bridge and that traffic was being redirected. A police spokesperson from the Baltimore Police Department said that people were possibly in the river. Florida State Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that will prohibit children younger than 14 from joining social media in the state. According to a report, those who are 14 or 15 will need a parent's consent before they join the platform. The bill also directs social media companies to delete the existing account of those who are under 14. Companies that fail to do so could be sued on behalf of the child who creates an account on the platform. The minor could be awarded up to $10,000 damages according to the new bill. And in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has disclosed that it will be allocating $10,000 to each bureau de change operator at 1,251 naira to a dollar. It was contained in a circular made available and signed by the bank's Director of Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. Hassan Mahmoud. The Apex Bank directed each BDC to sell the dollars to eligible customers at a rate not exceeding 1.5% above the purchase price, implying that BDCs are not expected to sell above 1,269 to $1. And on July 27, 2021, the CBN discontinued the sales of foreign exchange to BDCs, accusing them of trading forex wholesale amounts greater than $5,000 in contraventions of their licenses and Nigeria's foreign regulations. The European Union, in its continuation of its commitment to supporting the federal government in providing clean, affordable and sustainable energy for all, has introduced two new projects worth €9 million in Nigeria's energy sector. The EU discloses in Abuja during the project's inception workshop organized in partnership with the federal government and the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. With a population of over 200 million, having an electricity consumption per capita of 147 kilowatt per hour in 2022, while South Africa, with a population of over 60 million, boasted of electricity consumption per capita of 3,566 kilowatts per hours during the same period. According to the World Bank, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the country's average per hour data stood at 3,689.700 megawatts in September 2023 as it continues to struggle with low power generation and poor distribution infrastructure. University College Hospital Ibadan says it did not hold the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company at 495 million bill has been insinuated. The Public Relations Officer, Mrs. Fumilayo, had disconnected power supply to UCT due to what it called accumulated bills of 495 million naira, thus throwing the facility into darkness. The officer said that it was not true that the hospital had an accumulated bill of 495 million over the last 3 years. And according to her, the management had also been settling the backlog of bills inherited from previous administrations. They denied the report that the hospital usually spent 160 million naira on diesel on a monthly basis, adding that only about 15 million to 17 million was being expended on diesel per month. She also said that they had not given 24-hour power supply to the hospital, according to records of the hospital internal audit department. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria revealed that it's proposing a memorandum of understanding with the United Kingdom's Financial Reporting Council that will allow its members to obtain an audit qualification right in the UK. In a statement, ICANN said that the move was premised on the fact that accounting and audit practices have become global. If the proposed MOU between ICANN and FRC is signed, ICANN members can engage in audits in the UK. The idea was mooted during a visit to the UK Financial Reporting Council led by ICANN President Dr. Innocent Okwueze as part of its activities for the 11th ICANN UK International Conference. And now the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Commandant General Special Intelligence Squad has uncovered a massive illegal oil refining site at a forest in Odaga community in Echel local government area of Rivers State. The site comprises of over 10 illegal refineries with an estimated of 500,000 liters of crude oil containing about 50 illegally constructed reservoirs. While 5 suspects engaging in the illicit acts were arrested, the spokesman for the NSCDC Rivers State Command, Olufemi Ayodele, disclosed this while parading the suspect and conducted newsmen around the site. The Federal Executive Council has approved the institutionalization of a 10% youth quota in all government appointments and an equitable young women representation. Dr. Jamila Ibrahim, Minister of Youth, disclosed this at the end of the 4th Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. She said that the Council also approved the restructure of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund and the revamping of the Youth Investment Fund. Kikolo Mokere tells us more.
The Minister of Youth says the quota will encourage young people to participate in decision-making process and in civic engagement.
We have received Council's approval to institutionalize a 30% youth quota, a 30% representation of young people in all government appointments, and an equitable young women representation inclusive of this 30%. Well, this will go a long way to address the long marginalization and exclusion of young people in decision making, and will also go a long way to encourage young people to participate in decision-making processes and in civic engagements. This will in turn lead to young people contributing tremendously to national development.
Meanwhile, FEC has approved the setting up of Infrastructure Fund to be known as Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund. This followed a projection that Nigeria will require over $878 billion to bridge infrastructure deficit in the country.
Wisdom of Mr. President and magnanimity, so to say, of the Council that they've approved the establishment of Renew Hope Infrastructure Fund as the catalyst to actually drive our infrastructure agenda. So this innovative fund consolidates existing resources to drive economic growth and connectivity across sectors like transport, agriculture, aviation, and education, and other social.
The Federal Executive Council also approved the construction of 28 roads and bridges across the country worth over 1.2 trillion naira. The Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, says the projects were approved by FEC, having gone through the Bureau of Public Procurement and Certificate of No Objection secured. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The federal government confirmed the outbreak of ginger blight epidemic in 4 states in Nigeria, adding the ginger farmers have lost over 12 billion naira due to the disease. It discloses at the inauguration of the National Ginger Blight Epidemic Control Task Force in Abuja and revealed that the fungal disease had inflicted significant damage on ginger farms in Kaduna, Nasarawa, Plateau, and the Federal Capital Territory. The Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Abdullahi, said that the blight had caused billions of naira in losses, impacting not only livelihood of farmers but also Nigeria's position as the world's second largest ginger producer. The federal government has deducted over 415 billion naira from state government allocations to service their external loans. This was according to data from the Federal Account Allocation Committee Disbursement Report published by the National Bureau of Statistics. The deductions were made between 2019 and 2023 from the allocations given to state government from the Federation account. The Federation account is currently being managed under a legal framework that allows funds to be shared under 3 major components: statutory allocation, value-added tax, distribution, and derivation principle. The Minister of State for Environment, Dr. Isiaq Solako, has said that the ministry through the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency will be commencing periodic review of the plans of international and indigenous oil companies to ensure that they stay on course to end return gas flaring by 2030. Salako said this in Abuja at the National Stakeholders Engagement Meeting on methane mitigation reduction in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Methane, a potent greenhouse gas with significant warming potential compared to carbon dioxide, poses a major threat to the health and well-being of current and future generations and climate protection goals. Reducing methane emissions, especially in the oil and gas sector, will strengthen climate action and unlock benefit for public health, food security, and economic development. Salako said practical steps are being taken to address the methane emissions in the country. The minister stated that President Bola Tinubu is committed to environmental sustainability and climate actions in line with multilateral environmental agreements that Nigeria is party to. We'll now join Kikoloma Okere for more updates on business news.
Hello and welcome to Business Report on Prime News. The CBN Monetary Policy Committee has increased the benchmark interest rate by 200 basis points from 22.75% to 24.75%. This was disclosed by the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, who doubles as the chairman of the MPC while addressing journalists at the end of the 294th MPC meeting held in Abuja. Furthermore, the Apex Bank retained the cash reserve ratio at 45%, unchanged from its last meeting, but increased the CRR of Merchant Bank from 10% to 14%, while retaining liquidity ratio at 30%. The present monetary policy rate of 24.75% is unusually high, reflecting the bank's strong commitment to tackling inflation and exchange rate fluctuation. While this 200 basis points hike is steep, it still doesn't surpass the substantial 400 basis points raise implemented by the bank in February. It says the cash reserve ratio of commercial banks was retained at 45%, while CRR Merchant Bank was increased to 14% from 10%, but the liquidity ratio was left at 30%. Cardoso explained that members of the MPC were faced with continuing with the tightening cycle or hold a see further impact of last month's NPR hike, but at the end, after reviewing the balance of the risk, it was decided that a further tightening was the way to go. The CBN governor explained that the impact of the decision taken during the February Monetary Policy Committee meeting on the country's economy focused on the inflation and exchange rate. Speaking on the foreign exchange, the Apex Bank boss insisted that the backlog of all valid FX transactions had been cleared, adding that security agencies is investigating infractions discovered by the audit firm. Speaking on Binance, the governor rules out that the CBN has collaborated with security and other agencies of the government in handling the case, adding that it is the responsibility of the Security and Exchange Commission to regulate cryptocurrency. However, the next meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting by the Apex Bank is scheduled for May 2024. The Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture has expressed concern over CBN's MPR hike to 24.75%, warning of negative impact on Nigerian private sector. In a statement by the president of the association, Dele Oye, says the increase in MPR to 24.75% and cash reserve ratio to 45% will have severe repercussions on private businesses in the country. According to Oye, the association had earlier written to the CBN governor on March 13, 2024, when the Apex Bank first raised the MPR to 22.75%. Reiterating its position, the president says the private sector has been sidelined from the decision-making process of the Apex Bank. He also mentioned that this policy will inadvertently cause inflation, with businesses likely to increase the prices of goods and services to offset the higher borrowing costs. The president outlined 4 key issues the association has with the Apex Bank rate hike in a formal statement, saying increase in the cost of borrowing, existing loan will incur higher interest rates, raising the cost of capital for businesses. This scenario discourages entrepreneurial activities and expansion plans, which are vital for economic growth and job creation. The president emphasized the need for the clear policy direction communicated quarterly and a strong strategy to engage stakeholders, ensuring the private sector input in policy making. The African Development Bank Group has approved a $50 million loan approval for Yobe State Environmental and Climate Change Action Project, ECCAP, towards bolstering resilience against climate change and improving food security in northeast Nigeria. According to a statement from the bank, this funding initiative aimed to enhance the lives of over 3.5 million people in the region while addressing climate vulnerabilities, promoting food security, and improving livelihood. The ECCAP project funding totaling an estimated $101.34 million. The African Development Bank contribution of $50 million is complemented by $30 million co-financing from the Arab Bank for economic development in Africa. Moreover, the Yobe State government commits $4.52 million in counterpart funding, with an additional 16 aimed at achieving the bank's strategies, prioritizing and supporting sustainable development across African continents. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
For updates on entertainment news, let's now join Samuel Odi for more.
Nollywood actress Beverly Naya has revealed that she considered giving up acting after dealing with cyberbullying. Naya opened up about how her mental health was affected by the negativity she faced in her career and how she felt. She said, there was this particular blog that literally kept coming for me and always had the most negative thing to say about everything that I was in, and it felt like a personal attack. Stressed that the consistent attack made her consider quitting. I felt like I was being attacked again, like, why am I always being singled out? So it literally got to me and it damaged my self-esteem and made me doubt myself, and I didn't want to continue in this industry. Tearing up, she emotionally recounted a single post that was made about her, which was enchanted into her memory. Narrating how the words broke her down, she said, there was this particular post that I can never forget. They said, Nollywood, can we stop trying to make Beverly Naya happen? When I saw it, I was crushed, and I cried my eyes out because of that. I was angry because I felt like I worked hard. At the time, I wasn't perfect. I'm still not perfect, but I was willing, and I was pushing myself, and I really felt like I did my best, and I was trashed and singled out and irrelevant. I was borderline depressed during that period. Beverly Naya had appeared in notable Nollywood movies like Forgetting June, The Wedding Party, When Love Happens, and Across the Rising Sun. Amongst many others, she also won an AMVCA for the documentary of her film, Skin. Nigerian comedian Ali Baba has emphasized the need for education in preventing issues like sexual harassment and murder. Ali Baba highlighted the importance of education for children, particularly those under the age of 10. He began, "Someone asked me 2 days ago, if you could change one thing across the world, what would it be? I would give formal education to people between the age of birth and 10, he says. The comic stressed that education within the formative year of children leads to a better understanding of boundaries and other burning issues as they grow. It is so critical, and it is the failure to do that make people not to know the value of life or the essence of humanity, and not know that you have the respect, order, space, value, and boundaries, all that can be achieved through education," he said. Ali Baba now recalled an incident in which he witnessed a man sexually harassing a woman. "There was a time I asked the man, 'Why are you touching the lady? She is not responding to you and you are dragging her.' And then he said, 'That's how women behave.' Shay, you see, if you are educated enough, you would know that that is sexual harassment. You would know that such an act can escort you in some time in jail," he narrates. He continued, "The only thing is when you say certain things like no is no to certain people because they aren't educated, they would argue with you. Some would say, some women, when they say no, they mean yes. So when you get to jail term, now you would know." He also stressed the need for education in preventing senseless murders, assassinating that a person who is educated on the value of human life would know better. I said we were going to talk about burning issues in the national space. For example, a group of men would not go and kill military men when they know that you shouldn't even kill any human being in the first place. If you educate enough, you would know that dialogue and justice are the best way for anything you want, he concluded. That's that on Entertainment News. To have a great day.
At sports, the Euro 2024 lineup is now complete as Poland, Ukraine, and Georgia triumphed in intense playoff battles on Tuesday night. The stage is now set for an electrifying Euro 2024 tournament, which kicks off in Munich, Germany on June 14 and concludes with the final in Berlin on July 14, 2024. Poland emerged victorious over Wales in a penalty shootout after a goalless draw in regulation time and extra time. The match reached its climax when Wales received the red card in the 120th minute and Polish striker Patrick secured the winning penalty, sealing Poland's place in Group D alongside Netherlands, Australia, and France. The former chairman of Chinese Football Association, Zhu Chen, has been sentenced to life in prison for accepting bribes worth $11 million. State media said in a string of sport officials were jailed for corruption. Under President Jinping, the sweeping crackdown on official graft has struck hard at China's sport industry, especially football. And about 10 senior leaders and executives, including former national team coach Li Tir, has been brought down in recent years. Chen took advantage of his position and other bodies to illegally accept sums of money from other people totaling $81.03 million and $11 million. Let's now join Anthony Momodu for more updates on sport news.
Update. Cristiano Ronaldo filmed as he left the pitch following Portugal's 2-0 defeat away to Slovenia in a friendly match on Tuesday night. The 39-year-old superstar set out the previous game against Sweden, which took Roberto Martinez's side to 11 straight wins under his control. But Ronaldo returned to start the game in Ljubljana. However, second-half goals from midfielders Andre Serin and Timi Esnik ensured that Slovenia got a surprise victory over Portugal, leaving Ronaldo unhappy. Footage showed the Al Nassr star storming off the pitch at the end of the game. Portugal had 10 shots during the game, two of which fell to Ronaldo's way, but they were unable to convert any of their chances and became undone by the resilient performance from the host, who will be in England's group at Euro 2024. We now have our complete lineup for Euro 2024 after the final 3 teams booked their places at this summer's tournament in Germany via playoffs. Wales' dream was brought to a heartbreaking end as they lost to Poland on penalties in Cardiff, while Georgia also knocked out Greece thanks to sport kicks, and Ukraine came from behind to beat Iceland 2-1. England sealed their spot with minimal fouls by winning their qualifying group and are regarded as one of the favorites to finally end their 58-year wait for a major trophy. In Group A, we have Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland, while in Group B is Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania. In Group C, Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and England. In Group D is Poland, Netherlands, Austria, and France. In Group E is Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine. In Group F is Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, and Czech Republic. Novak Djokovic has made a shock announcement on Instagram that he and a longtime coach, Goran Ivanisevic, have ended their partnership after 6 years. Djokovic and the Croatian legend have proven one of the most potent player-coach duos in tennis history after a stunning dominant period that has earned the Serbian some 12 Grand Slam titles. While Djokovic already had 12 titles to his name, Ivanisevic, in part on his serve, has been well documented, helping to sharpen a far from a blunt tool to turn Djokovic from difficult to beat at a time invisible in the last few years. Yet the world number one's decline if retaining top sport at the India Wells. Djokovic revealed that the news on social media, but insisted that despite the up and down nature of their partnership and eventual split, their friendship remains rock solid. Victoria Azarenka's quarterfinal match against Yulia Putintseva was suspended for 45 minutes at the Miami Open after a power issue led the Hawkeye system to switch off in fascia scenes. Play stopped just 17 minutes into Tuesday's game at the Hard Rock Stadium. At the time, Putintseva was leading 2-1, 7 at 30-0 with no immediate response provided. Is left with no choice but to pause the match and summon both players to the net. She then briefed them on the technical issue. Play eventually resumed 3/4 of an hour later. Azarenka is a 3-time Miami Open winner, having won the WTA tournament in 2009, 2011, and 2016. Wrapping it up, talking boxing, Eddie Hearn has slammed Francis Ngannou for appearing to suggest that his demolishing defeat by Anthony Joshua was down to his early arrival at the arena. Joshua knocked down the former UFC heavyweight champion 3 times in 2 rounds to secure a dominant victory in Saudi Arabia. Ngannou, in a recent interview on the MMA Hour, said that he arrived at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh 2 hours earlier than Joshua, appearing to suggest that this was a trick to tire him out. Joshua's promoter Hearn has taken exception with the comment, suggesting the 37-year-old should know better. Ngannou, after the fight, confessed that he couldn't remember being knocked out by Joshua and that from going back to his stool in between the first and second rounds, he wasn't there anymore. And that's how we call it a wrap on the Sports News Update. I am Anthony Momodu.
As we wrap up the Global News Prime, let's take a look at our top stories. To be able to vet Foreign Affairs Ministry's ambassadorial lease, CBN, EFCC probe banks firms over alleged forex racketeering. Address growing security challenges, AGL urges government. Although APC elders ask Ayeditiwa to probe governors aspirant date on a spot, Poland, Ukraine, Georgia secure final Euro 2024 spot. That's the package on News Prime, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using our Global TV NG and all the handles now shown on your screen. Hi, I'm Medican Mike. Many thanks for watching. See you again.